What's up, everybody? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. For this Tuesday, December 21st, 2021, I am your host, Russ Williams. I'm so glad you could be here today. I'm quite aware you could have been anywhere in this world today. I know you could have been anywhere in this world today, but you decided to be here with me, and I appreciate that. And more importantly, I appreciate you. So welcome to Transition Tuesdays, ladies and gentlemen, on this potluck edition of Transition Tuesdays. We're doing some new stuff today. We're doing some Facebook Live rooms. We're doing a lot of new stuff here today. I got my boys in the house. Oh, man, I got my guy, Mr. Malik Means, a.k.a. the EP. We got him here today. What's up, Malik?
What's up? What's up? What's up, Big Rush? How you doing, brother?
And also, we got the voice of the Jaspers. We got the voice of the Pick and Pop podcast. We got the voice of
Mac Chat.
Mac Chat. We got this guy here on ESPN. This guy's all over the damn place. My man, my brother from another mother, Mr. Chris, Uncle Smooth Williams. What's up, Smoothie?
Yes, sir. What up, Horse? What up, Malik?
What's up? What's up? What's up, Chris?
Well, guys, ladies and gentlemen, so I brought my friends here today. We're going to have this potluck episode. You know, when like during, I think, Thanksgiving, you come and you bring a meal. You bring a meal and you devour that meal. But today, we're going to have some food for thought. We're going to be talking about some topics that might be on your mind, might be on my guest's mind. So we're just going to talk and have some fun here too. So, hey, man, let's do this. I can't play any music because I don't want to mess around with this. I usually play music for my guests, but I ain't going to mess around. We doing good, so we just going to get into it. So, Malik, man, what did you want to talk about here today on this potluck edition of Transition Tuesday, sir?
Well, okay, I'm glad. Well, one, thank you for the invite. I appreciate that.
Not a problem.
You know, it's always good when I get together with my brothers. It's always love. So
Yeah.
I want to just acknowledge that and appreciate you and Chris. All right. Two, I just want to make this acknowledgement. I don't know if you mentioned this or not, but it's a new format, right?
Yes.
Having three people in the room. You don't have no little cell phone up to the mirror. Like, we're moving up, right?
Right. We're moving up like the Jeffersons here, man.
Exactly. So I want to acknowledge that,
No
right?
problem.
But I got a question for you guys,
Mhm.
right? So I'm thinking about this, and it's the end of the year. So what was your top two moments for 2021? It could be anything, but what were your top two moments for 2021? And I'm putting you on the spot, so I know you ain't really think this through. What were
Right. Yeah. You want to take that, Smooth?
Sure, I'll go in first.
Okay.
Top two, correct?
top two moments for
I had a number of really good moments in 2022. And again, as Malik said earlier, Russ, it's always a pleasure to be on here with you fellas. So thank you so much for the invitation. It was love. For me, Chris Williams, a.k.a. Uncle Smoothie, top two. And I've had a number of them. So I'm going to go with one, being on the ESPN 3 Mac show, well, the host, because they usually do that where they have one guy just talk about everything. They called me in to bring a little color to it, no pun intended, to kind of jazz it up. My knowledge is the men's and women's, so I thought that was a good look for me. And my first time being on ESPNU as a broadcaster, so I centered around my broadcast career. Those two things were really good for me. I thought that was a good feel for me, so I like those two. Being a part of the Mac pre-show, get me able to do my own thing. They gave me leeway, said, Smooth, you do your thing. And being on ESPNU, because I know a number of people always joke with me, Smooth, you on ESPN Plus, ESPN 3. When are you going to ever get on ESPN, something we can follow? So I was on ESPNU, so there's more to come.
Now, let me ask you this. Did more people notice you? Did you get more love?
You know what?
Like, oh, you look familiar. I don't know where I know you from, but I know you.
You know, ironically, it happens a lot to me when I'm in stores. Again, I'm not sure if I just have a friendly face, a face you've seen before, but my athletic build, a lot of things that go into it, but I do get that often. But I think because of the pre-show was a good look, because all of the teams usually watch it, parents and people who follow the conference watch it. Recently in Florida, one of the parents from a team that I don't even cover, Fairfield, came up to me and they said they appreciate the job I do. So I thought it was a larger audience. So I believe it did help.
Okay.
Nice, nice. Well, for me,
So what about you?
yeah, a couple of things. I think for me it was like I did something I've never did in my lifetime. I never thought I would do during this COVID, pandemic. I went on Match.com, and due to my tutelage of my daughter, who was like she was screening me she was gonna catfish me, and it's like she was gonna create a profile for me, and she did that. And I'm glad she did that because I found somebody on Match.com, and somebody I'm really vibing with right now. Her name is Felicia, as you guys know. So that was something that was new and something that was special, and that was something that was good for me. And we still going strong, which is a great thing. So shout out to Match.com. Shout out to my daughter Taya too for setting this up.
No, wait, you got to get them as a sponsor.
I know, I do. I really do. Right? Yep. Yeah. You got to hear our story. I'm sure we got to, create a storyline for Match.com too. So I'm keep mentioning Match.com. Yeah. Look us out, Match.com. Yeah. I need you to be a sponsor in Transition Tuesday. No doubt about it. And I think the second thing will be this still coronavirus. Like this new variant now, this Omicron. I heard Fat Joe say Amarion virus, you know what I mean? But that's still here too, man. That's and this strand is getting kind of crazier too, as we're seeing, especially here in New York. You and I, Malik, we're seeing this strong here and across the country. So, but I think those are the two things two memorable things for me for this year.
Gotcha. So now I feel bad, right? Because you guys both went personal, right? And I got political stuff. So listen, January 6th, like insurgent, that to me was like, it marked the beginning of the year, right? Think about this. 26 days into the new year, new president, we think everything is reset, country is better. And then you get these dudes showing up at the Capitol trying to like destroy democracy. That still to me got to be the number one story of the year. It's just crazy. And everything that's happened since then, it's a whole new world. Let me just say that. It's a whole new world. I don't know if you guys feel it. Do you feel like, because I don't know if it's a media like hype in this, or do you really feel like the change in like the United States?
I feel that I think that was a practice run. I really do. I think, this can definitely happen again. We could have closed the door number 45 by, putting him on charges. But again, we didn't send, they didn't do that. So now he can run in 2024. So that's going to open up another Pandora's box. So, I think this can definitely happen again. And we're seeing this, and again, I think it was like a trial run. So, we're definitely not away from it. I know they're having these things in the Congress now that they're talking about, this they're having like a little they're trying to bring up charges.
January 6th committee.
Yeah, yep, that's right, correct. Yeah, the January 6th committee, we're gonna see how that go and all that. But man, it's been doing this for practice. Could have been a trial run, man. This could definitely happen again if we don't close the door on this, if we don't, if you don't solidify this with this committee deal. If you don't do this, it can definitely happen again. And it will happen again if you don't do anything about it. No, most definitely.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, personally, I think a lot of people don't agree with me, but I'll put it out there. I think it was staged. I think a lot of media hype. I think we have to have some sort of distraction or something always going on. And as you asked the question, Malik, I think the media has so much to do with what goes on, and they make things seem much worse than they really are. And I definitely think it was.
Yeah, what's so interesting? And once again, we're in New York City area. So we are in a bubble. Like if you go upstate New York, climate's a little different. You start seeing like the Trump flags and stuff like that. Pennsylvania, you go up to the Poconos. It's a little different climate. I don't know how it is down in Florida, but I don't really like day-to-day interacting with people. I don't feel hostility.
No.
But you go home at night, you turn on the TV, and you think the sky is falling. Like Chicken Little, the sky is falling. So I don't know what's real and what's hype. You know, and I think that's the scary part. There's so much misinformation and disinformation and outright lies now that people believe.
No question.
You know?
Yeah, that's true. No, that's definitely true. Definitely true. Wow.
Like
Hey,
even going into like 22.
Go ahead, Malik.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Malik. Go ahead. Sure. Go ahead.
Finish it up.
I was gonna say, even going into like 2022, now the hype is around like the midterm elections and you know politics. Everybody tries to use fear as the motivator to get you to do what they want you to do. So you just know, like the fear, the hype, the fear hyping, like hyping that fear is gonna just get more intense the closer we get to November.
No doubt.
Yeah. And you know, yeah, and especially with politics is political drama. That's what it is. I mean, these things that's going on now, and you got the midterms that's going to be coming up. You got to see if this guy Trump 45 is going to be running in 2024. All this is political drama for these channels, for CNN, for Fox, MSNBC. This is drama. People like drama. People want to be entertained. Politics serves is just as that. That's what they do. It's the new wave. It's the new wave. Like remember like Dallas. Remember the show Dallas back in the day? Like you had those nightly dramas, what have you. Knots Landing and all that. All that's political theater, political drama. And it's just a cycle that continues to go on. So you're gonna always have that, no matter who's in power or what have you. That's gonna always be the case.
Well, you guys are sharper than myself when it comes to politics. I feel on it, Russ, I think I've shared this with you and Malik. Our system is broken. And the system never changed. That's my personal opinion. Because the ones who run the system, which is the Caucasian males, will not allow it to get into the hands of anyone else. So the system, you'll get a bone thrown your way once in a while. So you say, oh, you know what, we'll have a black president, or we'll have this amount of people in this particular office. But it will never get to the point where it's fair for everyone. That's my personal opinion. That's what I believe. And I think we've seen that over and over. The cycle tells you that. And it goes back to the drama. It goes back to this is the way it's going to be. Oftentimes, you see something that's like, wow, how could that happen? How could this case go this way? Then you get a bone thrown your way, say, all right, we'll change it so it'll go an opposite way. But because of where our system has been built, and it's been this way for a long period of time, it won't be changed. I don't think it will ever be changed, at least during our lifetime, where everybody gets a fair shot. Personal opinion.
Yeah,
what do you think about that,
I definitely see that. Well, I see the merits in that because, like, I'm a student of history, right? And I also believe in patterns. So you got to start looking at the patterns, right? So there's always been some controversy in, the United States. You could go way back to like slavery, but let's not even go that far back. 40s and 50s, they was talking about communism, right? Like communists was going to take over. They had, McCarthy era, calling people out. That was huge, right? We got over that. We came back. So I'm asking, is just another, thing that's been manipulated, that's been hyped, right? Are we going to get over this? And not in our generation. I'm talking about like our kids' generation, our grandkids, what's happening. Because if you listen to, the nightly news, no matter what channel it is, you think democracy is dead. Just a matter of time before everything is over.
Right.
It is. Okay, let me ask you this, right? Here's the thing we keep talking about, right? Since you were a little kid, right? Every movie, every couple of years they introduce a movie where the world is ending, right? You got like Star Trek, you got Star Wars. They always tell you like the planet was destroyed and people moved to space, right? So now when you start seeing this stuff like climate change, you start hearing about like billionaires investing and going to like outer space, going to like different planets, exploring different planets, right? You start thinking like, is this real, or we thinking it's real because we've been conditioned from the time we were little kids to think, you know, the end of the world. If you're a Christian, you've been hearing about like the rapture forever, right, Chris? Think about it. So now it's like stuff is happening, and you like, yo, wait a minute. Is this hype or is it real?
Well, again, if you get Christianity, no one knows exactly when this will happen. So that's one thing you have in your favor. So it's probably not going to be the case. Here's, again, my personal belief. Again, I'm going to give it to you again. I think the world's going to end. Your world ends. That's when we all die. Everybody's going to die. So your world ends. This place is going to be here for a long time. So while you're here, enjoy yourself. Live a good life.
I hope so, Smooth. From your lips to God's ears,
right?
Go.
Yeah, Russ, I had this conversation with Chris, right? And you know, Chris's thing, right, is positivity. You know, positive energy is a gift.
That's
you
right.
know, Mr. Positivity. And
That's
I was telling him, I was like, yo, it's gotta be real hard to be Mr. Positivity in today's climate. Right? Because I just feel like the way you get attention is to be negative. Right? Like trolling is a thing.
Oh yeah.
Right? And you know the whole concept behind trolling is to be the most outrageous, say the most outrageous stuff, to do the most outrageous stuff, to film it and put it out there into like the world. And you get attention, whether it's negative or positive, you get somebody looking at you. Right? And that's the thing. Right? So now you come along with positivity, smile, and all that. People looking at you like, what you talking about? They gonna get me no attention.
I'm so glad. That was a great segue into my topic.
There you go. What you got, Chris?
I'm going to segue it in as the host, but Malik, you just ushered me in. My first positive energy is gift. Again, you guys know as a motivational speaker, that is my platform. And the question you have posed to me maybe a couple of days ago when we spoke, Malik, was, is it really that bad? No, it is not. When you watch the news, police stories, someone's being robbed, someone's being stabbed, someone's being killed. If there's any good news, it's usually at the end of the news. So we're conditioned to think there's much more bad than good. We're having a great conversation between three good brothers. How often do you see that shared? There's a lot of good stuff that goes on, but it's not shared as much. There's a commercial that's running right now, which I love. I'm not sure what type of commercial it is, where someone gives a person a compliment, tells another person, oh, you look really good today. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, you're doing a really good job. Yes, I appreciate it. Now, that type of stuff happens all the time, but we don't see it as much. But those type of small things can get a person from doing a bad thing to saying, you know what, I appreciate that. I want to pay it forward. So again, as my tagline says, it's a gift. When you receive it, you want to share it with someone else. Everyone wants to feel good. However, that negative cloud is around, it becomes contagious also. You feel negative, that person feels negative, there's tension. So you're defensive, they're defensive. So again, I have to watch my back. I'm not sure what you're going to do, Malik. I'm not sure what Russ is going to do. So there's a negative vibe. But when you put that good energy out, yo, man, this is a great show, Russ. I appreciate you having me on. Russ starts to feel good. No, it's smooth. Thank you. I'm going to have you on now. Malik, you're doing a good job out in the field, you know, talking politics and sharing with the young people. You know what? Thank you so much, Smooth. I appreciate that. I'm going to reach out to more people. So when we do a better job of sharing good information, it becomes contagious also. Again, all of this is a cycle. The world, this is the devil's platform if you want to get into Christianity. This is his age. But the job of people like us is, come on, bro. You're not going to win in the end. I've been watching Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V. Everybody loves Gary V. If you look on his Instagram, his tone has been, yo, more positivity. The good guys will win. At the all said and done, good guys win. What do they always say? Good guys finish last. No, not at all. Not at all. If your peace is within, you're always going to win. If you're in the eye of a storm, everything around you is swirling, going bananas. Peace is right in the middle. All you want is peace. Have peace, you can share it with someone else. And the one we all need is hope. And that's why it's so important for guys like us to share that hope. for the younger generation. Now, unfortunately, when I said I don't feel the system will ever change, but what I do feel is, and I've said this plenty of times on the Black Coffee Crew, it starts in your community. We all can handle our families, our area within. If everything's cool in your crib, your wife, your son, your daughter, they go out, they share that good love, your community starts to change, regardless of what's outside. But that's the ripple effect that we have to have. That's why that positive energy is so important. During the holiday season, a lot of people are sad. A lot of people are down. It's not a real great season. Give out gifts and you share stuff. And it's true.
So, Chris, let me ask you this. And actually it's to both of you guys. We play sports, right? When you're in that locker room, right, where there's a halftime speech or right before a big game, right? What did the coach use to motivate you? Was it positivity or was it fear?
I'll let Russ go first.
Yeah, I think it was a lot of times more positivity than fear. You know, it all depends on the coach and his coaching style, but a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, is usually positivity. Hey, look, we got a game plan. We execute here. We stay positive in our journey. Let's say you might be playing a game on the road, which is like you feel like it's us against the world. So if you guys bond together and stay positive, you probably win that game. So a lot of times that was led to the coaches, at least the coaches I've had, it was led by positivity. You get your most results from positivity than me fearing a coach, I mean, I was the type of guy, I ain't gonna fear you any damn way. I ain't really playing for you anyway. But so fear wasn't an issue for me. But 9 times out of 10, no, positivity, we usually ruled the day. To get some results. If you wanted some results, you have to definitely sprinkle in some positivity to make it happen.
No question. I totally agree with Russ. I love his answer. Regardless of what a coach says at halftime, before a game, after a game, if you're a good player, you filter and understand what you need to do. If the game plan, whatever it may be, has been put in, if you put your work in, you realize that's the case and you understand it's a team concept. So that's a positive thing right there. One thing I talk about when I speak is most important word in English language is we. Anything can't be done by yourself. So that's positive here. We as a team, we have to win a game. Concept of the positive energy is a gift. Us as a community, us as a world, us as leaders have to work together. No one person is good enough to make any big time change. It's important for us to share vibes, good energy, and consistently do it and not allow the negative vibe to cloud over us. And it's not easy, Malik. I'm the first one to say, I get tested all the time. Just like you start, move, you're a positive guy. You say this, and it's a negative vibe comes right back at you. What do you say when you go to companies and schools? What do they say about you? They love it. They want it. They believe it's a good thing. But how consistent can it be? How long keep it going? Because I'm consistently being tested. All right, here's a positive guy. We got to throw something at him to throw him off his game. And sometimes it happens. So I need people to get me back on track.
Hey, Smooth, do you feel that, since we're in the spirit of giving this holiday season, do you feel that you talk about positive energy is the gift. Do you feel like you're the gift that keeps on giving with your platform of positive energy is a gift, right?
And I don't want to be selfish and I don't want to sound arrogant, but I believe it is a gift.
There you go.
Been given to share with other people. Malik made it clear it's not easy all the time.
Correct.
Especially if you're quote unquote that person who's been given the crown as a positive guy, or you give yourself that crown. So you know what? He's so positive, let's throw this at him. He's so positive, let's throw this at him. Oh, he's gonna crack sooner or later. So yes, I believe it's a gift. But the great thing is when you share it enough, so many people really appreciate it. Like, you know what, Chris? Thank you so much for coming to our company. Thank you so much for coming to our school. We needed this. Because when that positive energy is working properly, do so many more things. Who wants to be in a negative environment where it's dreary, everybody's sad, everybody's getting on top of each other, no one wants to say anything? That's not good energy. And if you're around that, it's going to get you down and you want to fight. It's a cloud. And that's what gets created by the media. You watch it and you watch the news enough, you're gonna start thinking, man, this thing is falling down right before us. It's out here. But all you really need to do is walk outside, talk to a couple of people like, yo, y'all good? Everything all right over here? Can change. Now that's my belief.
Now,
Gotcha.
So here's the thing. I think I agree with you. Positivity is a gift, right? But I feel like negativity's always been around. Like sensational stuff has always been around. Fake news, misinformation has always been around. Remember going to the grocery store back in the days, and you had the checkout line. You saw like the Inquirer and the Star. They had like the big headlines, and you were like, "What are they talking about?" You want to like pick it up, but then you saw those other newspapers, right? Like black and white, and they were like alien abducts child, right? You're like, yo, that is crazy. But somebody still picked that up, right? Well, we still have that now. It's just everything's on the internet. So you got that group that really thought like the alien abducted the baby. They all get together. Right? The algorithm now kind of reinforces everything that all those fears that they already had. Right? That's the world that we live in. Right? So the gatekeeper's kind of gone now. It's like, yo, if all of us getting together right now, having this conversation, there's other people getting together having all types of conversation.
Oh yeah,
you know,
definitely. It's the yin and, it's always the yin and yang effect. You know, you always got the positive and the negative. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Hey, let me share my potluck topic, and this is funny, but not necessarily funny. But this was talked about during the election. You know, with Biden and number 45. Which it was touched upon, but due to COVID, you know, it's kind of pushed to the side there, and that's about reparations for Black people. You remember when we had, remember that, do we remember? You remember the time when Cube, Cube was he had a plan for Black people, right? And then he's supposed to go to Biden, and he's supposed to go to 45, and they say, not yet, whatever. And I was kind of like pushed to the side. And I understand, because of COVID, there's other fish to fry. I understand that. But again, my deal is once we get through this COVID thing, if we ever will get through this COVID thing, are we going to have back the conversation for reparations for Black people? And when we do, and let me stress this, when we do, I'm for an option system for reparations, meaning like I don't want to pay out. I want some options. Maybe option A could be a payout. Option 2 could be, hey, look, I get X amount of stock in a big company. Option 3 could be, hey, look, I want to go back to college. Can you pay off these loans for me like that? I want options with my reparations. Personally, that's just me.
Big, man. You dream big. I love it, brother. That one, man.
Let me just say this, right? So there's a couple of points. The first point is this, right? I think we as a community, right, we have to understand the way politics is conducted, right? So we know there's 3 equal branches of government, right? So the president can have an idea, right? And he runs on that. But it takes, the Senate, Congress to agree, right? For them to actually pass policy, right? To present to him so he can sign, right? And that becomes law. All right. So I just want to mention that first, right? Okay. We also know about wedge issues, right? You know what a wedge issue is?
What's that?
So like abortion is a wedge issue. It divides people. It'll separate people. We either on one side or the other, right? There's really no compromise, right? The vaccine, for some reason, they're making a vaccine like a wedge issue, right? Which is crazy, But CRT, you know about critical race theory?
Yes.
It played real big in like the Virginia governor's race. Right?
Is there such a thing, Malik? Is that really such a thing? Because it's kind of like a made-up thing. Is that such a thing, no, man?
Okay. So here's the origins of it, right? Critical race theory is a real thing in college campuses, really law schools, right? So it was introduced to explain how the system, someone like Chris was talking about, the system is biased, right? And once you understand how bias is baked into the system, then you understand why things like redlining was able to exist, segregation was able to exist, all of those things, right? So we saw on a high level college students, right? Nicole Hannah Jones wrote this great piece a couple of years ago for the New York Times, 1619 Project, and it explored, right, the origins of slavery and racism in the country, right? So it caused an uproar. Some people were like, never really understood this information, so it was fascinating. It was enlightening, right? Other people were upset because they're like, yo, wait a minute. We don't want you telling the truth because it makes us look bad. It makes our forefathers look bad. We only want to focus on the positive, right? That's a wedge issue. So reparations is a wedge issue.
Yes.
Right? It's one of those things where it's like, if I'm, okay, let me back this up for a second. Black people make up 13% of the population. So let's say that. All right? So if I'm struggling blue collar worker in Ohio, right? And my factory job got shut down because it got moved overseas, right? And my whole family for generations been working that factory job, but now that job is gone and I'm struggling, right? I'm asking myself, yo, why they giving black people money and I'm struggling? Why are you giving them free money, my money that I pay taxes on, right? If I'm a black person, I'm like, hey, wait a minute, my forefathers, fought and died to build this country for free. I think I'm, granted that, right? You got two sides of this issue. It's going to divide people, right? It's going to divide. So,
this is true. But
is
really quick though, Malik, Jewish people for the Holocaust, they got reparations.
From who though?
From the government. The government.
No, from what government though? Or what government though?
The government of the United States, I would imagine. Somebody gave them. Somebody gave them reparations because ancestors of the Holocaust. Let me just say this. Reparations.
Let me just say this, and I'm glad you said that, right?
Yeah.
So here's the difference, right? German government, United States, right? The government that was in office when the Holocaust happened, the Nazi government, right, got overthrown, right? So when a new government came in, they had to clean up the mess of the Nazi government. So not only did they give reparations to like the families of the Holocaust survivors, right? But they also then went about a re-education program, and in schools, they just basically admitted their mistake and re-educated that next generation. So what happened in Germany is taught in German schools. Little kids actually go to the grave sites of the Holocaust victims and they clean the grave sites. It's talked about. It's not something that's glossed over and say, hey, that was my forefathers. I had nothing to do with it. To right now, modern times, they're still teaching the Holocaust in German school. The United States never did that, right? And they won't do that. They know, they're like, yo, listen, slavery is something my forefathers did. I got nothing to do with it. Hey, we gave you a black president. Why are you complaining? Right? And we also got to talk about narrative.
We got to have the conversation. So it's all about the conversation. Conversation was started with Ice Cube and his principles and, for black people and all. I mean, he got it started. But the key is having conversation. And I know we're in a pandemic. We may not ever get about it. We talked about it, but it needs to come up about once COVID is done. That's all I'm saying. We need to revisit.
I love you, Horse. I'm gonna on you. It ain't happening.
It ain't happening.
Like I made clear earlier, our system, our government. I love Malik. He gave you keywords which I wasn't familiar with. It's a wedge issue. It causes division, like I stated earlier, because of the system. is built on dissension. It's built on greed. You can't go back and fix any of that because the powers to be will lose something. They can't lose. They can't allow 13%. The great thing about the 13%, the 13% is so resourceful. So they're like, if we give them any more, they're going to make something out of nothing again. So it can't be done. And you can't have these issues come up. It'll cause so much more division. Who wants to hear that their forefathers were slave owners and they beat you down and, no, I'm a good person. How can they get something that we're not, like Malik said? So again, it's going to cause too much division. It's a wedge. And what happens, as Malik stated, the wedge issues, when they come up, they divide things. I use the example. He used the black president. Now, again, when President Obama came in, so many people were excited, at least African Americans. Oh, he's going to change everything for us. He can't change everything for us. It's two lines in the system that come before he makes a decision. So the division comes, people who love him, he's a fraud. He didn't do anything for us. They're doing the same thing to Biden right now. I just really funny. Somebody said, put anything in front of Biden, he'll sign it. Put his resignation in front of him, he'll sign it so he can get the heck out of there. So now the people who love him are turning on that dude. But too much because how the system is put. That's my.
I got you, Smooth. But I think, okay, so Malik, you mentioned a wedge, right? So one thing I know about a wedge is if you put enough pressure on a wedge, you can remove a wedge, meaning like protest, conversation. We've seen it with Black Lives Matter movement. We've seen it. You got to have the conversation. If enough people come up with a stink about it, things will be changed. If you say nothing, of course, nothing will be changed. So wedges are made to be removed.
Okay. Let me just say this. I see where you're going, right? So I just want to, once again, kind of backtrack and get.
I want options too in my reparations. Again, I want options. Option A through Z.
Okay.
I want options. I don't want this to
pay out. Two things come to mind, right? Let me just say the obvious and then let me get into some history. So, Build Back Better. Have you heard about that? Like the Build Back Better policy that the Democrats, they passed it in the House. The Senate was taking it up. They were supposed to vote on it. And Joe Manchin on Sunday said, hey, because it's a 50-50 split, right? They need every Democratic vote. Joe Manchin, the senator from West Virginia, basically said, my vote is a no, right? And for all of these reasons, right? If we can't pass, like, Build Back Better, where you talking about, like, universal pre-K for all kids, you talking about, like, child tax credits. That means if you're a parent, you were getting money every month, right, for a tax credit. It was going to help you out. Policy, like climate change, all of this stuff was in this policy, right? 1 point whatever trillion, right, was in this. He said no. And you mentioning reparations, a more wedge issue, a more issue that's going to divide, because I agree with what you just said, right? You could protest. So yeah, summer of 2020, right? George Floyd, Sandra Bland, everybody took to the streets, they're protesting, right?
We saw what happened
some
there.
change came out of it. But then what happens is there's always a backlash. So now if you notice, right, people talking about this woke movement. Oh, they woke. Like in Florida, where Chris is, they just passed, your governor just passed this bill, this policy that says, if there's a teacher, the anti-woke bill, right? If there's a teacher teaching about, something in history that you're uncomfortable with, you can sue. Think about that for a second. Don't teach the truth. Don't tell us actually what happened in American history. But they want it whitewashed. They want it glossed over because it makes little Johnny feel bad. So now his parents can sue. So that's the backlash for summer of 2020. President Obama being elected, great, historic. Everyone was excited about it. Trump was the backlash for that. All right. So there's ebbs and flows. For every positive step we take forward, right? Every 2 steps, you're going to get knocked back 1. So you've made some gains, but they're short, incremental gains, right? And that's just the way our system works. So when I think of reparations, I'm like, it's a great concept. Realistically, is it, can it happen? No. And for me, I don't want to hype our people up and say, yo, reparations, let's protest for reparations. No, it ain't gonna pass. Because then all you got is like another politician promise you stuff that he can't deliver.
Russ, work on your place in your community. Work inside your house, work on your community. And it ripples out from there. I'm telling you.
And then I get my reparations to boot too.
Never gonna get you.
I don't want a reparation.
It's reparations. No, your reparations are your daughters.
Exactly.
Right? That's your legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Your daughters are your legacy.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
What are you empowering them with? What are you giving them that's going to help them navigate this world to be more productive, better citizens? That's your reparations. Don't look for the government to give you money. Because honestly, listen, if we being real, right? Corporations made money from slavery. Like the fashion industry made money from slavery. Right? Where you think people like in modern times they were wearing all these clothes because cotton, it was picking cotton, right? Them slaves was picking cotton for free. So it fueled the whole fashion industry, right? Coffee, right? Sugar, rice, potatoes. We could go on and on. Soybeans, whatever it was, right? These families, these corporations got enriched, right? When you're talking about generational wealth, right? So now they're on the boards of all these corporations, right? And their families is well off. Are they giving back money? Like the insurance companies. Think about this. You needed ships, right, to bring the slaves over. So there was insurance companies that insured the ships, insured the slaves, right? So if you lost a slave during the passage, you had insurance. So you got insurance money from it. Those people giving back money, you have banks. It was a business. It was like around for like over 300 years. People were enriched from it. Those corporations aren't giving money back.
Right. Well, Malik, you make a great point. It's ironic. My father and I were having this conversation earlier this week. Unfortunately, so many people are taught to work a 9 to 5. 9 to 5 will never make you wealthy. But we've never been taught that a 9 to 5 won't make you wealthy. What makes you wealthy is being able to have your money work for you when you're not working. So smart people, really wealthy, rich people understand I need to have the workers working for me. If somebody's working for me when I'm not working, I'm becoming rich. Whereas that person is just trying to figure out, I need to work for time. You can't exchange time for money. And we haven't been taught that. It never ends up well for you. Because if you're always working, you're never going to get ahead. You got to work 3 jobs just to make ends meet. But the truly wealthy are having their money work for them, and you're the ones doing the work for them.
Yeah. So I agree with that. Only pushback I have with that is right now, there's this movement where everybody thinks they're entrepreneur. Not really understanding the responsibility that comes along with being an entrepreneur. All right. And even if I'm an entrepreneur, I still need workers. I need people to work, So everybody can't be an entrepreneur, right? You got to understand.
Everybody can. However, not enough people are taught that for you to be truly successful, your money has to work for you. Like understanding investing, understanding things where, you know what, allow my money to work for me where it's not quote unquote a gamble. Like if you were to speak to my father or my grandfather about investing, oh no, boy, that's a gamble. I ain't putting I don't know how you go out there and work all day for it. No, bro. No, but you invest in something good, your money's good. The bank, like we're learning now that the bank is not a good deal for you. But you've always been taught, put your money in the bank.
Yeah.
But you're better off investing in something and your money grows there. But that's the area where, there you go, us, the positive energy guys, share with our young crew. So they so the true entrepreneurs can get it and they can be successful.
I'm glad you said that.
And that's what I'm saying about. Yep, go ahead.
You guys are aware of where society is headed, right? everybody's talking about, like, so Facebook just changed its name to Meta, basically short for metaverse, right? Metaverse is this digital world that you could go into, put on little 3D glasses, get gloves. They're probably gonna have a little suit where you really feel like you're in this virtual world. All right. So if you understand where that's going, you also understand now that cryptocurrency is huge. Yo, somebody told me about cryptocurrency like years ago, a couple of years ago, when it was like $2,000 per coin. Right now, the coins are selling for, I think the high this week was like $55,000 per coin, right? And it's gotten as high as like 64,000. They're talking about like the middle of 2022, it should probably be at like $75,000 per coin, right? So it's unregulated though. So it's not like regular, it's currency, right? But it's not like regular money where it's backed by gold. This is not backed by anything, right? But it's trillions of dollars in it, right? I like my wife and I invested, like we had some money, we invested, we tripled our money, right? And I was like, yo, you know how you feel like you're doing something wrong? You're like, wait a minute, let me take this off the top before like it's no. So that's no area.
You just did exactly what I said, like my father and grandfather. Hold up. You mean to tell me this? I didn't work for this.
No,
I didn't hard labor in this. How dare me get this more? But that's the wealthy thought process. Give me more. Give me more. And we have to start feeling comfortable with that thought process.
Well, you know what it is?
And
it's
again,
risk versus reward. So risk versus reward, right? But let me kind of give you more information. So metaverse, right? NFTs. You guys heard about NFTs? Okay, so NFTs is huge. Basically, Nike just entered a deal to do like virtual sneakers, right? If you're an artist, you're talking about digital artwork. If you're a musician, you talk about like music that basically non-fungible tokens. So like if you're an artist and you create like that photo behind you, if you want to NFT it, right, put it on the market, Chris buys it, you get a percentage, right? I buy it from Chris, you still get a percentage from the original owner. But that's all digital stuff. They're now dumping billions of dollars into NFTs. So that's also the wave. Here's the problem. Education. Not enough people do like the research and do the education. And there are unscrupulous people out there that will take advantage of you being naive to this stuff. And that's our history. And that's why like I understand what your father's talking about, because in our community, there's always been vultures who preyed on us. Right? Back in your father's generation, or probably be, like grandfather's generation, there were insurance people that came into our community, right? Selling insurance, right? And they would use their little bit of money to like, pay for this insurance every month, right? And then when somebody died, you couldn't find like the policy. You couldn't find a broker. Oh, we don't know about that. But every month, this person was putting money away towards their insurance policy, and they got taken advantage of. So I get that. I get like, yo, this caution, because one, our community's always been taken advantage of, right? So we're cautious behind that. But we also got to do our research, right? And we got to find the scrupulous, like the respectable people.
People who need the assistance to make good decisions. You have to have right people. You have to have genuine people. People who are willing to say, you know what, I'm going to take my time out to make sure you understand this properly, because you're never going to get any reparation. I mean, you got to get that out your mind. You're not going to get anything for nothing.
But what I'm saying, so this to wrap this up though, how it goes full circle, how you talked about, again, we talked about options. So again, cryptocurrency could be one of the options. Bitcoin could be one of the options. But I'm just saying, these how these things revolve when you have conversation. Huh?
But who's giving you who's giving you the crypto? Who's giving you the Bitcoin? Where you getting it from?
I don't know. It's coming from somewhere. It's coming from it's coming from somewhere. Malik. I'm not versed in cryptocurrency, but I would like cryptocurrency to be one of my options for reparations. I'll tell you that much. Well, listen. But again, this.
You remember what was happening when Raj would go upstairs and they'd be looking for the belt or something, and then then the father yell upstairs, "Keep on looking, Roger."
We're gonna keep on looking. We're gonna keep having the conversation about reparations. So it's an interesting conversation. But again, if we just keep it alive, you know what I mean? You just kicking that can down the road, you know, somebody pick it up and then we'll see what goes on. So to wrap this, man, I just, I want to give you guys
one before you wrap, Russ. I
Yep.
wanted to on this plate real quick. Hopefully we can get in and get out. Mental male health. I don't think we touch on this enough.
Okay.
The health of men, our mental health. I think oftentimes as men we struggle, we try to work so hard for our families, we do so many things, and our feelings get crushed because we don't know how to express ourselves. And I think it's something that needs to be shared. We need to talk to each other because oftentimes we don't talk to anybody.
Right.
Decisions because mentally we're wore down.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know how to express who we are, our certain feelings of compassion, sadness, all the feelings that we quote unquote say are soft. We do a tough job of putting them out there. And if we do put them out there, we feel vulnerable. And when we feel vulnerable, that gets us more angry because why, how dare me say that I hurt? And now you're going to use it against me. And our default is always anger. Always anger.
Mm-hmm.
When you're younger, to say, you like that young lady. Oh, you want to share how you feel with her. She rejects you. How many times have you seen guys throw stuff and start saying bad things about the same young lady that you liked a minute ago?
Mm-hmm.
But because she said, I don't want to get down with you, I have a boyfriend or whatever the case may be, you a B or you, that, because you don't know how to handle your feelings or your emotions. And I've shared this many times when I speak. Between the age of 15 to about 35, I never allowed myself to cry. Only time I could cry if I lost the game. It's okay. I can cry now. It's cool to cry in the locker room because we lost, but how dare me cry if somebody hurts me? How dare me cry if my feelings aren't correct? I'm going to hold it in. I'm going to get angry first before I cry. So again, we have to do a better job of sharing with one another how we feel and giving each other good feedback and saying it's okay, yo, if you're sad. It's okay if you're not sure about what decision to make. Because a lot of guys have made bad decisions just because their emotions have been all screwed up.
Yeah.
So let me ask you,
to piggyback
with
on
that being said,
yeah, go ahead.
No, look, with that being said, and I love what you just said, and I think is needed, right? How many of your friends, right, do you know are in therapy, seeing a therapist, seeing a counselor?
I know about 3 or 4 of my friends who are seeing a therapist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can add me
I've
to the
seen
list.
one
like,
person.
I definitely go to therapy.
Oh, we all do it.
I currently do. Like, it ain't like, because you know what it is too? It ain't like, I always look at it, it's like, you need constant, like somebody to talk to feed stuff off, to bounce stuff off. This stuff that's happening, that has happened, right? And you gotta look at your model. So growing up, like you just said, Chris, we had this certain model, right? So I remember thinking that, well, that's the model. That's the model of manhood, right? No showing no emotions, all of that. And what happens is, it's like a volcano. You keep pushing that shit down, and it's gonna come out other ways. You're gonna explode over the smallest little thing. And you'll be like, yo, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's important that we, are transparent and say, yo, I see somebody constantly every Tuesday, 5:30.
Now,
You know what I'm saying?
there that you see someone. Now, if you aren't able to see someone, that's why I said when you have a core like we do, it's important to share. You brought up earlier the positive guy. So many people, and you've said it to me a while back. I remember it like it was yesterday. Said, "Well, Chris, you seem like everything's going your way. You always got everything cool. You always got a fresh cut. You got this. Are you kidding me?"
But that's the image, though. It's the image, and then it's reality.
That's outside.
Yeah, it's perception of reality. Yeah.
Everything like everybody else. And when you project that image on me, do I really try to keep that image, or do I gotta say, you know what, Malik, I'm screwed up. dude, I'm messed up too, man. I'm dealing with these bills. I'm dealing with my wife. I went through a divorce. People say, Smooth, you did? Yes. And I didn't get raped.
But I think it's important to show vulnerability. You know, listen, I get on Chris about this all the time. You hear like Smooth, the word Smooth, the name Smooth, right? You're like, oh, he perfect, he good. Like he talked about his jumper. You know, it's like, yo,
that's so
I know. Huh? Okay, what'd you say?
That's social media.
Listen, the thing is, like, we are well-rounded individuals. So we got our good days, we got our bad days. We got days where we don't really know what's happening. Like, yo. And we got great days where it's like, yo, everything, like, we can't miss. But, you know, you've had a bad game. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, who do you go and talk to about that? Who helps you strategize and work stuff out? And not for nothing. Listen, I love you guys, right? But I don't know if you got the skill set to help me when I'm dealing with some stuff. I need a professional who can see a way.
Right. To listen, I think we all can listen. And I think we've built enough trust where, you know what, if you called me, I would at least listen. Now, if you don't remember correctly, Malik, you were the first person I spoke to verbally after my mother passed away. Remember that?
I do.
The very first person. Now, again, you were caught off guard, but you listened to what I had to say during that short amount of time. I was all screwed up in the head, but you listened. And you gained a lot of points in my book just from that.
And that's good. I'm glad you said that. Because listen, you never really
and you know what
that you have.
That's true. That's true. And you know the key is, like, when you see a therapist, for everybody out there watching and what have you, when you see a therapist, is like, it's good to go to a therapist because there's no judgment. Like, you know, that person is listening with no judgment. So that'll you know, give you the angst to be vulnerable and, you know, dispose everything that you might be going through. You know, and I think the key thing to keep in mind is it's okay not to be okay. It's bottom line. It's okay not to be okay. That's okay.
You're right.
You know? So Malik, I'm gonna
and just to taper it out, Russ, it's important for men, all the young men out there, any man who's listening, to make it clear that you have some issues. And your emotions are real. You're allowed to be sad. You're allowed to feel compassion. You're allowed to have these emotions that we don't talk about enough as men. Because we don't deal with them so well, but you can have them. And you have to use them because, like you said, Malik, if you don't use them, it's going to be some sort of explosion from some area in your life.
That's true.
That's why so many guys have problems with their ladies. Put that out there because we aren't taught how to love correctly. We don't know how to use those certain skill sets to deal with them at an age where these young ladies, again, they've been using it their whole lives. Now, they say they want this tough guy, but at some point, they want a guy who's going to be compassionate. They want to open the door for him. You know, you don't want this guy pushing this girl around all day long, but how often do we see that? Because that's all too.
Here's what I'll say, right? You want somebody who's emotionally intelligent. So let that sink in for a second. Like, you could be, you know, like, physically and like mentally intelligent, right? And physically strong and stuff. But like, do you read the emotions, right? Can I really be transparent? And can I be open to criticism, you know, without getting defensive? So all of that stuff is important. I think, honestly, listen, I think that you evolve over time if you're, you know, open to it. Because some dudes get stuck. You know, they get emotionally stuck.
Seeing other men who can do it. That's important. Like you said, you watch other guys.
You gotta see it.
So I'd like to see other guys like, oh, you know what? My man handled that really good. Yo, that's the type of stuff I like to see.
Yeah. Listen, here's the other thing too. Like, a red flag for me, if the dude is too machismo. Because nobody that tough and that are all the time. It's like, listen, there's dimensions to us. We got that soft side. Listen, I cry at movies. For some reason, I got older. I be watching movies. I be like, oh shit, I feel like I'm tearing up. Like, where'd that come from? You know what I'm saying? But I gotta accept it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Too long, man. You've held it back. You suppressed it.
Yep. Man, I tell you guys, this has been great conversation. This has been great food for thought. My guys here came to the table, not empty-handed. They came with some conversation. They came with some food for thought. So guys, man, I really appreciate you guys coming on, man. You know, this is always a pleasure getting a chance to talk to you guys, especially in this little format here. So, you know, we survived this format. You know, we ain't done. I ain't done yet. You know, you guys gonna be done pretty soon because I'm about to get you guys off so I can wrap it up. But but guys, man, I thank you guys for coming on, man. This little experimentation deal. But again, this is important that we talk about things and items, you know, things that are on your mind, you know. So I'm glad you guys were a part of this today. And I really appreciate you guys coming on Transition Tuesdays. Again, you guys are family. You guys aren't guests. You guys are family, man. You guys come on in all the time. You know what I mean? So you guys are family. Anytime, you know, open invite, you know, and I wish you guys families, you know, happy holidays to both of you guys families, man. You know, you guys, how much you guys mean to me. So I appreciate you guys coming on today on Transition Tuesday, the potluck edition.
No doubt. On my stories, if you're checking out on Instagram and Facebook, make sure you tell somebody you love them, man. Life is fragile. I love you, fellas, man. I appreciate you guys. All love. Chris B. Williams on Facebook. Hear Chris speak on Instagram. Check it out in stories. Tell somebody you love them. Life is fragile.
There you go. What you got, Malik?
That was. Listen, you see how smooth that was? Like, he got his Instagram handles down, his Facebook handles. He got the T-shirt on.
When I grow up, right? You know,
social media, Malik, you got it ready.
Listen, as you know, I'm more of a behind the scenes dude, so I got all the socials down and all of that. Listen, what I want to say is this, right? One, thanks for the invite, and you know, listen, I'm here. I'm a phone call away. You need me, I'm here, right? But yo, I'm honored and blessed to call you two friends. Right, and just be able to, like, you know, have these conversations. I say this all the time: iron sharpens iron. So just the fact that we're able to have these conversations and be challenged, right, is a gift and it's a blessing. And I don't take it lightly. So I just want to let you guys know that.
No doubt.
Cool.
Feelings.
Cool. All right, gents. So here's what we're gonna try to do. I'm gonna have you guys hang up on your phone, on your line. You just press that red button, I think. And I think you guys will be gone. Then I'm going to wrap up the show. But thanks again, though, fellas. My brothers, appreciate y'all, man.
All right, man.
All right, now. Oh, man. Let's see. Who else we got here? All right. We are still live. Let me just make sure. Hold on one second. Oh, let's see. Hold on one second. All right. I think we're still live. All righty. So, ladies and gentlemen, if we were able to make you laugh, smile, and think during this broadcast, my good friends, you have accomplished something major today. So celebrate your victory. Celebrate your victory here today on Transition Tuesday. So again, I want to thank my good friends Malik Means and Chris Williams coming on the show today. They gave a lot of insight on this potluck edition, you know, bringing food for thought. So that was great. So guys, thank you so much for being a part of this here today. You guys can always follow me again on Instagram on Russ Will Transition. That's Russ Will Transitions. And, you know, you can see this. And also, I'm going to post this in other episodes of Transition Tuesdays on the YouTube page, Transition Tuesdays. You can just, when you go on there, please like and subscribe to the channel as well. We'd love for you guys to do that. So, ladies and gentlemen, Transition Army, as we always say in parting, happy transitioning, and we'll speak to you soon. Take care, everybody, and happy holidays to each and every one of you. God bless.